The following is a video of the House of Representatives and Senate Committee concerning the Arizona Racing Commission and the Sunset Review. Department of Gaming, no expertise in racing. I considered myself the top 3 in the state in expertise in racing. With no disrespect to Director Casillas, he was thrown in the job of the director of racing when the former director had to be replaced by a governor showing some kind of an impropriety. I'm concerned that the Department of Racing doesn't have much knowledge there either. He says they've retained the people that they knew. There's nobody there that knows racing, I'm telling you. And it is both issues. They need to get somebody involved that knows something about racing. We lost a commission member in March that had substantial knowledge, and we got it replaced by somebody who doesn't. When people say that that's the arena where people know, they don't know, the commission doesn't know. The one that knew was replaced. That's the one that needs to be brought into gaming and racing. There's substantial knowledge out there we can ask for.
I agree.
Thank you. I believe that this is focused in on the Racing Commission. I have issues with this Racing Commission, not the fact that we have one, but that the current one that exists. First, I'll give you a quick brief background. I've been an agent here in Arizona for approximately 30 years. I've won several thousand races, leading rider titles, highlighted last year by being a co-agent for an Eclipse Award winner in the United States, apprentice jockey Drayden Van Dyke. I'm here to try to ask for this commission or this committee to take in the information I gave you. It was a tremendous amount, and it was focused on the impression of improprieties that exist. They existed in 2006. I think they exist even larger to this day. We're trying to identify the root of a problem that you want to talk about, the fact that we don't have mayors and businesses and entities or racing entities have left this state. But we have to identify the problem. I'm here to ask that if we do consider keeping the commission on, which first off is unique. This state has now a Department of Racing under a division of gaming and a racing commission, parallel to nothing in the country. No 3 regulatory boards anywhere in racing jurisdiction in this country have that kind of oversight. And it's a wasted space. Since they combined it, we have a wasted space. It's a step that doesn't need to be here any longer. I believe that the Racing Commission job is to protect the racing industry's integrity and to see that the industry not only survives, but it thrives. And we're going backwards until we identify that problem. I'm trying to identify it. The mission statement of the website, of racing, gaming, everything, to protect the wagering public and its racing participants. It's failing us miserably. I feel this commission may be tainted. I say that because in 2006, before the Sunset Review, there was a statement that reads, Stims revealed a personal relationship with Racing Commission chairman that creates an impression of impropriety. I believe that's even much more worse to this day. This is very hard for me to do. I'm a David versus Goliath. I have no lobbyists, no influential, high-powered attorneys here. I have the fact that I have knowledge. I've been there 30 years, down at 5 in the morning, nitty-gritty, helping the horsemen, helping the trainers combine and put this racing industry together. We need help. The breeders need help. I'm a member of the breeders. I've had mayors here. We need your help. I went to the department. They said I had to go to the legislature or I had to go to the governor's office to get you to act and then force them to open up an investigation. But in my investigation, it's far more reaching than that. When the governor has to remove a director in its first days of office, and that director then, I got to be careful of words, is caught with a former commission member, now attorney, got a problem. And that's not the first director that had to be removed by a governor. It goes way back. I'm going to be brief. You have my information. The commission, it needs investigated if it stays. I see no reason to keep it because we have gaming on top, a supervisor over top of racing. We need somebody in that position that knows something about racing also. I mean, substantial knowledge. We'd lost it in the commission in March. And we need it from you. And I'm going to continue my tenacious, passionate effort to bring this state to the racing it deserves. It could go so good, Senator. It really could. Find the root of the problem. Help me help the constituents of this state, your constituents that you're to represent. Help me to help them to build this industry to what it needs to be. Order Whatever kind of investigations needed. To me, it's a Department of Justice. We've had a removal of a department head who had to be granted immunity. The following are Senate committee hearings for the appointment of racing commissioners. My concerns are sincere. I also am one of the only people for the last 10 years that could attend every racing commission meeting. This position that is available is very unique. The position that's being vacated has been occupied by an individual with tremendous knowledge in the industry that is second to none. Also chairs the treasury of the National Racing Commissioners International. But this position is specified, and in this state, with the environment of racing, we are in trouble. I never had to prepare it here. We are in so much trouble. The dates are being cut back. We went from 9 races to 8 races a day. They're trying to shorten next year's meet. My concern is with this industry. My knowledge is extensive. Please hear my concerns. I wish that we would have someone of more substantial knowledge available. This is a specified position. I wish one of the other positions would be available that didn't concern dog racing or horse racing. This is specified to substantial knowledge in the industry. And with that being said, and I appreciate your time, I want to voice concerns of the current status of racing and how that is relevant to the reappointment of Mr. McClintock. I believe that the commission has been tainted. I believe that we're headed down a path that if it's not understood by a committee here, that it's not going to be understood, and it's going to be too late to save the whole industry of a state. This is the 5th largest community in America, or approximately. We have, for that size of a city, the worst racing in America with the lowest purse structure. The industry is dying. We need better leadership in our commission. The appearance of improprieties is enormous. That refusal as of last Thursday's commission meeting, I just heard it last night listening online of that meeting. It's wrong. It's wrong for us. It's not wrong for me to be here and inform you. It's wrong if we allow it to continue. I'm trying to inform you that there are serious issues, I think, that speak for themselves. The industry is in dire straits. The facilities are in dire straits. And I think that the regulatory process needs a better checks and balances than a personal relationship with the only permit holder in the state. I plan to try to make it known that we need help. The legislature is where I've been sent by the department, say, go let them know. Here I am. And I'm not familiar with the political process. I don't have lobbyists that can come and hit you and say, hey, this is the best thing. I don't have the money of high influential attorneys. I've taken a personal hit because of my outspokenness to try to save an industry. I'm willing. I'm willing, and I'm going to continue. And if you have any questions, please feel free.
Thank you. Members, any questions? I have a couple, Steve.
Yes, sir.
We have combined gaming with racing. Was that good or bad?
In first light, I was the greatest touchdown ever because I believe that the permit holder that had been denied a gaming license, I thought that that would have been enforced. And the commission has failed to do, because it's separate from the Department of Gaming, it hasn't even addressed the issue. The permit holder in 2006 applied and was denied a gaming license. He appealed to Superior Court in 2010. It was upheld. He's not eligible for a gaming license, and for gaming to be the parent of the division of racing, I do not understand why that's not enforced. Well, it's not been good so far, as you can tell by the statistics I've brought before you.
And to that point, Mr. Nolan, some of the things you have said are not due to Mr. McClintock entirely. There are things I completely agree with you. I understand racing. I understand what's been going on. However, I can't put the blame on Mr. McClintock. It's not solely at his feet. There's a number of issues as you have expounded. Now, I believe that in the future there will be light shed on a lot of things that you have mentioned. I completely agree with racing. It could be a huge industry for Arizona. It could be a billion-dollar industry. Indian gaming has taken a lot of the gambling away from the racetrack, and so have OTBs. However, I agree with you on what you're saying. Okay.
But we have a chance to move on. He had the chance to do the right thing last Thursday. Let's do the right thing now. Let's stop it in committee.
I agree with you. There's one thing you're overlooking, and that is this is the governor's choice and the governor's appointment.
And the governor was obviously very counseled well last year when firing the director. That director then had to be given immunity. That director was allegedly conspiring with a former commissioner member because of his influence, attorney A. Melvin McDonald. That's all on the record. And he might need a better advisor than a lobbyist that is paid by Mr. Sims. I don't have that. I wish I could have got to the government and said, hey, we have a problem here.
Okay.
It's not, I don't want to put blame. I'm asking for help. Let's not blame the governor because he was misguided.
I'm saying this is the governor's choice.
I understand, but let's go back and say, hey, maybe we need better counseling on this situation.
Perhaps that's been done. However, this is the governor's choice. And it has to go before the entire Senate. And I appreciate greatly your being here. I know it's not comfortable to come and say the things you've said. However, this committee, it's our job to listen and make decisions and hopefully put this to the whole Senate to vote for. So I appreciate your comments here today. Mr. Farns, Senator Farnsworth, do you have some comments?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, just to that point, I met with Mr. McClintock this morning. We met for the first time. I have met with Mr. Steve Nolan several times and listened to his concerns. And just for the record and for everyone's information, Mr. McClintock has agreed to meet with Jeff Cross and myself and Mr. Nolan before the full Senate meets for this to see if we can resolve some of these concerns. And there's agreement between us to do that. We'll be meeting in my office. And anyone else who is interested is welcome to come.
Good.
Senator McGuire.
Thank you.
What you have just seen are attempts to inform the legislature and governor's office of allegations and litigations that are having a negative impact on the agricultural entertainment business of horse racing in all of Arizona. What must also be noted is the other litigation mentioned between the permittees, Ron and Jerry Sims, a litigation originally filed in 2010. Please see a judge's ruling of January 31st, 2018. What is happening and has been happening in Arizona's racing industry and Arizona's Racing Commission concerning this litigation is unparalleled to anything in racing history anywhere in North America. The next presentation will be why I became a lobbyist, as it relates to the needs of horsemen that have been unaddressed for a very long period of time.